Fellas, today we're going to be predicting how many defenses each UFC champion gets in 2024. Now, this is just going to be for 2024, not after 2024, not their entire career, just this year. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory, to be fair. Some of them might get one defense, some of them might not even get a single defense, some might get multiple. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this, because I'm sure everyone's going to have different opinions on how many defenses there's going to be for each champion. But the first one, pretty easy to predict: Jon Jones. I reckon he'll defend against Stipe. I think that's obviously the route they're going to go down. They've made it pretty obvious that they want to do Jones versus Stipe in 2024. He hasn't really shown interest in Aspinall or any of the other contenders. It seems like it's just going to be Stipe mid-2024 and then he's going to retire. Now, I do think it's going to be a closer fight than people are expecting. I don't think it's going to be a first-round finish like he got against Cyril Gane. Stylistically, it could be difficult, but at the end of the day, it isn't old Stipe, whose last fight was early 2021 where he got brutally knocked out. So I don't have high hopes for him. I do expect a late finish by Jon Jones, but yeah, one defense against Jones. Now, there's always the small opportunity as well, and this is a really small opportunity that he does actually take a fight with Aspinall after the Stipe fight, in which if he does do that, fair play to him, but I just don't see him beating Aspinall. I don't even blame Jones if he doesn't take the Aspinall fight. Why would you take this young, dangerous, hungry contender when you can just have an easy fight with Stipe, call it a legacy fight, and then retire on a high note? I don't understand why people are mad at Jones for not taking the Aspinall fight. I wouldn't take it either, but even if he were to take the Aspinall fight, I don't see him winning. So yeah, this year's pretty easy. I've got Jones with one defense, retiring after that defense, and then we'll probably have Aspinall promoted to the undisputed belt. Next fighter, Pereira. Now, this is a difficult one because there's a lot of contenders in the light heavyweight division, right? I think the first one he's going to get, and I'll get up to the Aspinall fight in a minute, the first defense I assume he's going to go with is Jamahal Hill. Now, this is assuming that Jamahal Hill's out of the legal trouble, because we all know what happened with him and his brother. So hopefully Jamahal Hill's not going to be out for too long, but I expect his first defense to be against Hill, which could be a dangerous fight because Hill's got knockout power, but I would obviously, well, not obviously, but I would lean towards Pereira in that fight. So I'm going to say Pereira beats Jamahal Hill. Then this is where it becomes a bit weird, because we've got so much other contenders from there. We've got Rakic and Yuri Prohaska, who are fighting in UFC 300. Now, if Rakic can beat Prohaska, which is a big if, because Yuri's not easy to beat, but if Rakic can actually beat Yuri, then we might be talking about a Rakic versus Pereira. There's also the whole argument between Walker and Ankalaev, because they're going to be fighting, I think it's the first event of 2024. And I'm sure the winner of that, whether it's Walker or Ankalaev, they're going to be calling for a title shot. There's a lot of contenders for Pereira to take here, and I just think he beats all of them. The only one I think Pereira has any kind of problem with is Ankalaev, because of that grappling kind of side of things. Pereira's not really had to face any heavy grapplers at light heavyweight besides one round against Jan Blachowicz. So besides Ankalaev, I think he walked for all of them. Now, if he does actually end up going up against Aspinall, I promise this is the last time I mention Aspinall in this video, but even if he does go and fight Aspinall in the heavyweight division, I don't think he wins. And even if he does win, it doesn't affect his light heavyweight legacy. So I'm going to say Pereira has two defenses this year. And yeah, I reckon it's going to be two defenses, but I don't know exactly who besides Jamahal Hill. Next champion, Sean Strickland. I'm sorry for the Strickland fans. I just don't think he gets a defense. And this isn't me saying he's not a good fighter or me saying he's bad. I actually think he's better than people think he is. People kind of think he's not as good. Maybe it's because of his personality and the fact that he's so, just brash confidence and everything. But I don't think he's going to beat Dricus du Plessis. I just don't think he's going to beat him. I am predicting Dricus to win that fight. I think Dricus will be able to stop him within 5 as well. Now, if it does get into the later rounds and Strickland is able to survive the first few rounds, that's where I'm going to, start rooting for Strickland, or at least thinking Strickland has an opportunity here, because Dricus, he's always shown suspicious cardio. I know he's sorted his nose out and everything, but he has always shown that he's got some suspicious cardio. But overall in the fight, I am rooting for Dricus du Plessis. I reckon he's going to get a ground and pound finish in the middle of the fight around round 3. And yeah, I reckon we're going to have Dricus as the champ. Then we're probably going to see like a Dricus versus a Hamzat or a Cannonier. But yeah, I don't think Strickland's going to beat Dricus. And another thing you can also say is that maybe Strickland's going to be a little bit emotional coming into the fight. I don't want to, talk about this too much, because we said the same thing about Leon Edwards and Colby Covington, and Leon was fine. So I'm not just going to rely on Strickland being emotional, but that's another factor that you can bring up. He might be emotional going into the fight. So overall, I am going to go with Dricus winning the fight. I do think he's going to stop Sean Strickland, and that means that Strickland, unfortunately, I just don't think he's going to have a defense this year. Maybe he's going to get another title shot next year if he builds himself back up, and maybe he does pull off the upset. Well, it's not a massive upset, but maybe he does pull off the win against Dricus du Plessis, like he did against Adesanya, but I am picking Dricus to win this fight. Next champion, Leon Edwards. I'm going with him getting 2 defenses against Belal Muhammad and Shavkat. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that I think Belal Muhammad at least deserves the next title shot. I'm not sure if the UFC want to push Belal because obvious reasons, he's not the most interesting, but I think it's the obvious route for at least us fans. Well, not in the way that we want to see the fight, but I mean, he makes sense. It's fair for Belal. I think he beats Belal. I always see Belal as kind of like a better version of Colby Covington, better on the feet, better when it comes to grappling. But after seeing Leon Edwards, how he's dealt with Usman and dealt with Covington, I'm going to back him in the Belal Muhammad fight. It is a bit of a dangerous fight for him. Not dangerous in the sense that he's going to get finished, but dangerous in the sense that Belal Muhammad, you can call him boring, but he is good. I'm still going to back Leon Edwards in this fight. And then if it ever comes to a Shavkat fight, I'm going to be honest, I think Leon beats Shavkat, dare I say, easily. I know Shavkat's undefeated, finished every single one of his opponents, S-tier grappler, but stylistically, I feel like Edwards is a nightmare matchup for Shavkat. An insane striker. Shavkat hasn't really, his defense when it comes to the feet isn't great. I wouldn't call Shavkat a good striker. Well, I call him a good striker, but nowhere near on the same level as Leon Edwards. And then when it comes to grappling, Leon's just been facing non-stop grapplers. If he goes from Usman to Kobe to Belal and beats them all, I don't see how he'd have this massive problem with Shavkat unless he gets caught in a submission. I guess that is a big if, but yeah, I'm backing Leon to beat Shavkat as well. I think he'll make easy work of him. Maybe that's a really bold prediction, but I really do think he will. And I reckon Leon will end the year on 2 defenses. There's also been a lot of talk about, Leon going up to 185 and maybe Islam's going to move up to fight Leon. I can't see Leon fighting 3 times in a single year, and I don't think the UFC are going to let Leon move up to 185 unless he's cleared out the division, and so far he hasn't. He's only beaten Usman in a rematch and Covington. So I feel like if he wants to move up to 185, he's going to have to wait till 2025, and maybe they're going to give Islam a shot, but again, I just don't think it's going to happen. Islam's got his hands full at lightweight as well, so I reckon Leon's going to get 2 defenses this year. I think he's going to win them both, and I reckon he'll move up to 185 in the year after. Which then brings us on to Islam. I reckon Islam again, 2 defenses, Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. I'm actually pretty excited for these fights because I want to see how Islam does against Gaethje, or more so how Gaethje does against Islam. And I also want to see him rematch Oliveira. I want to see if that first fight was, maybe Oliveira was, a bit off in that fight, or maybe Islam is just that good. But yeah, he's going to start off with Gaethje. I think that's the route they're taking. They've been talking about each other on Twitter. Ali Abdelaziz has been talking about the fight, and to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. You've even got Arman Sarukian calling out Oliveira, which we'll get onto in a minute. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do Gaethje versus Islam, and I know Gaethje, maybe he just pulls off a random finish, but I have got Islam winning that fight. I think he's going to finish him within 3 rounds because Islam is just that good. And then that's when they're going to move on to Oliveira versus Islam, the rematch. Again, maybe Oliveira pulls off the finish because that's what he's best known for, faces adversity early on and then comes back with a massive finish later on. But I've seen Islam beaten before, and I just haven't really seen enough from Oliveira to, try and convince me that he beats Islam again. I am going to bet on Islam in that fight. No, I'm not going to bet money, but I am going to predict on Islam in that fight. And that's what I think his 2 defenses are going to be. Now, there's a small chance that they do Arman Sarukian versus Charles Oliveira in the meantime to kind of, as a number 1 contender fight to kind of, show who he's going to fight for the belt next. And even if it is Arman Sarukian versus Islam, which is a small chance that actually happens, I don't think Islam's going to... I don't think Arman's going to win. And, I reckon Islam's going to get 2 defenses, Gaethje and Oliveira. Next fighter, Volkanovski. I reckon, again, 2 defenses, Topuria and Movsar Evloev. Now, the Topuria one's pretty obvious. He's going to be fighting Topuria. It's already happened. It's already booked. Now, maybe Topuria sleeps him, but I just don't see it happening. I feel like Volkanovski is like a step ahead of all of these featherweights. Look how he deals with all of these featherweights. It's like he's just 10 times better than all of them. And I know Topuria's undefeated. He's great jiu-jitsu, absolutely, devastating striker as well with knockout power. We saw how he just took apart Josh Emmett, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Volkanovski. I am going to say that Volkanovski does beat Topuria. I don't think that Islam knockout can really prove that Volkanovski's kind of washed or anything. It was at lightweight on 12 days notice against Islam. So I'm going to back Volkanovski to beat Evloev. And then they've also announced Allen versus Volkanovski Evloev, Volkanovski Topuria. They've also announced Evloev versus Arnold Allen. And listen, as much as I want Arnold Allen to win, I'm going to pick Evloev to win the fight. He's undefeated. He's an absolute decision machine, but I reckon Evloev's going to be able to pull off a decision, surprise, surprise, against Arnold Allen. And then because there's no one else really left at featherweight, they're probably going to do Evloev versus Volkanovski towards the end of the year, in which I do see Volkanovski absolutely picking Evloev apart and making easy work of him. And Volkanovski will end the year ending 2 undefeated streaks and retiring, or maybe not retiring, but at least ending off the year as the featherweight GOAT. And that's how I feel like Volkanovski's going to do in 2024. Don't think there's going to be any more lightweight fights. I can't see any more contenders fighting him besides these two. So that's my prediction for 2024. Bantamweight, I reckon O'Malley's going to get a defense. He's going to beat Marlon Vera at UFC 299, and yeah, that's probably going to be the fight that I have got O'Malley winning this. There's been a lot of people saying, "Oh, Vera was able to finish him the first fight, so surely this fight Vera beats him again." I've not seen enough from Vera to say that he beats O'Malley. O'Malley's impressed me. Goes out there and beat Peter Yan. Put your the controversy aside. He did beat Yan. Also slept Aljo, which is insane. I just haven't seen enough from Marlon Vera to say that he beats O'Malley. I mean, the guy, knocked out Dominic Cruz, lost to Sandhagen, just about beat Pedro Munoz. I can't say that I think he beats O'Malley. I really do have O'Malley winning this fight by either stoppage or decision. And then after that fight's happened, they're probably going to do Sandhagen or Merab, because there's literally no one left. I think they've done Merab versus Cejudo, and I'm not sure if Cejudo deserves a title shot from one win, so it's either going to be Sandhagen or Merab, and I think both of them beat Sean O'Malley. I think Sandhagen's just become too well-rounded recently. He's great on the feet, and he's also great when it comes to grappling. I feel like that's a difficult fight for O'Malley. And when it comes to Merab, the guy's a machine. Insane cardio, insane grappling, insane output, high pace. I feel like it's going to overwhelm O'Malley, and I have both of those guys beating O'Malley, so I reckon O'Malley will beat Vera, and then he'll lose to either Merab or Sandhagen. And finally, Pantoja. I reckon he's going to get 2 defenses, Brandon Moreno and Manel Kape. Now, do I think Brandon Moreno deserves a title shot for getting a win over Amir Albazi? No. The guy's been getting title shot after title shot after title shot. I'm sick of him getting one win and then immediately being pushed back into the title area. But it does seem like the UFC are heading towards that. It seems like if Moreno is able to get past Albazi, they're probably going to do a quadrilogy between Pantoja and Moreno, in which I do think Pantoja's going to win again. He's beaten him 3 times already. I haven't seen anything from Moreno to suggest otherwise, so I'm going to go with Pantoja beating Moreno a 4th time. Hopefully we never see that again. And then the next fight after that, after the Moreno fight, I reckon we're going to see Manel Kape versus Pantoja. Manel Kape's got a fight booked, which I do think he's going to win. And then I feel like they might start pushing Manel Kape, because obviously we saw at UFC 293, the guy's been, he's actually been willing to say things on the mic. He's kind of been building a name for himself. And I feel like if he gets another win, I don't see if there's any more. I mean, we've got Kai Kara France, but I want to see Manel Kape in the title picks. He has already fought Pantoja before, but I'd happily see the rematch, and I think they might do Manel Kape and Pantoja. Do I think Manel Kape wins? No. I feel like Pantoja definitely is the best flyweight in the world right now. There's no one I can really say that beats him. There's a couple other contenders. There's obviously Mohamed Makayev, but I don't think Makayev is going to get to a title shot in 2024. I mean, it's just too soon for him, so I'm going to say that Pantoja retires as the... Well, yeah, I reckon he's going to retire. Well, not retire, what am I on about? He's going to end off 2024 with 2 defenses. And yeah, that is my picks. That's my picks for 2024 and all the champion and all their defenses. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you think is going to get the most defenses this year. And yeah, thank you for watching.